I'm gonna start off with a 3-pound head of cabbage, and I'm just gonna take off some of these outer leaves. As I just showed you, we can use these to keep that kraut submerged while it's fermenting. And also, these outer leaves tend to be a little bit softer and don't have the same texture as the inner leaves. Now, once you get the outer leaves removed, you just want to quarter it right through the core right there. And then we're going to core this thing out by running our knife diagonal right here. Just get rid of that core. And then for the leaves themselves, we're going to go with a nice fine shred. And then you want to transfer the shredded cabbage to a large bowl. I'm just going to break this up now because the next thing we're going to do is add our salt, and we want to be able to salt all of the surfaces of the cabbage. It doesn't seem like much, but for these 3 pounds of cabbage, all you're going to need is 1 ounce of kosher salt. And we're actually going to build the brine here in the cabbage. So I'm going to start by crushing this cabbage down. We want to break down the cell walls. Make sure you're tossing it around to get that salt distributed evenly, and continue to just crush it with your hands. And I'll give this just a couple of minutes of kneading, and what you'll start to notice is that here on the surface, you're seeing some moisture come out. That's the water being released from the cabbage. I'm also going to sprinkle in a couple teaspoons of juniper berries just for a little extra seasoning. Now I'm just going to cover this with plastic wrap, and I'll come back to it every 20 to 30 minutes and do the same thing again. We're going to crush it up, try and get some more of that water out, and then let it sit. We're going to repeat this process until we have some standing water in the bowl. So we'll be back later to show you the progress. It's been about an hour on the sauerkraut, so I want to show you guys the progress here. As you can see, there's a lot more liquid that's come out. In fact, you can see a little bit of liquid in the bottom of the bowl. And again, every 20 to 30 minutes, just kind of working it, kneading the sauerkraut, breaking down those cell walls, and expelling the moisture. So that's our brine right there. All right, we'll cover it back up and let it rest just a little bit longer. We're back after about 3 hours. I think that this is ready to go into the mason jar at this point, so I want to show you guys what it looks like. So you can see how it's completely different visually. I mean, it all looks wet. It doesn't have that same bright green color. And if we squeeze it, tons of liquid coming out of there. You can see that there's now liquid standing in the bottom of the bowl. So at this point, we're going to pack this into a half-gallon sized mason jar, and we're going to top it off with a little bit of saltwater solution, a 2% saltwater solution. Now to make your 2% salt solution, you just need about 1 cup of water to 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. We'll stir that to dissolve. And you want to add enough of that 2% saltwater solution to cover the cabbage. I'm just going to do a touch more because I don't want the cabbage exposed to the air at all. All right, and now that that cabbage is submerged, I'm going to add some of those outer leaves that we took off of the head of cabbage at the beginning and just press those down. And this forms a little bit of a barrier in and of itself. If you want to, you could place another glass jar in here to help weigh this down, but you can see that we've got good coverage. That water is up above the cabbage all the way around, so we're going to leave it just like that. On with the lid. And you're gonna wanna store this at room temperature, about 65 to 70 degrees, not in direct sunlight. You can cover it with a towel if you like. And after about 2 to 3 days, the fermentation process is really going to kick off. What you'll notice when it's sealed with a lid like this is it builds up pressure. So give it a few days, loosen the top of that lid and let that gas out. And you'll wanna do that every probably 3 to 5 days throughout this process. Now the fermentation process lasts as long as you think it needs to last. It's gonna need 3 weeks for sure, but this one's gone up to 5 weeks, up to 6 weeks would be great as well. It's all about flavor development at that point. As long as this is submerged and it's not growing any weird stuff, then you're